Chapter 12 Warlord of the West. Muhammad's master plan was still to control the Kaaba and take over Mecca. It did not yet seem likely to happen. However, that June he had the luckiest accident of his whole life. He sent a squad to kill the Kilab tribe in Central Arabia. His warriors killed 12 men and brought back a herd of stolen camels and goats. It turned out that their only human captive was not a Kilab man at all. He was Thumama, chief of the Hanifa. This tribe were corn farmers who grew nearly all their food bought by Mecca. Muhammad kept Thumama a prisoner, tied to a pillar of the mosque until they reached an agreement. Thumama became a Muslim and Muhammad released him without asking for any money. Thumama then swore to the Meccans, "Not a gain of corn from Central Arabia will reach you until Allah's messenger permits it." He was as bad as his words. His tribe sold no more corn to Mecca, and they also blocked the trade routes from other farmlands. No food reached Mecca for the next 10 months. The Meccans lived on barley broth and on animals that had died of starvation, then on blood and bones, then on camel hair and hides. Muhammad turned a blind eye to his new friend's work. When he heard that the Quraysh were bringing a caravan of silver back from Syria, he sent his ex-son Zayd to rob the caravan. With Mecca under control, Muhammad concentrated on the Jews. He was on constant alert in case the Nadir in Khaybar tried to invade Medina to reclaim their lost territory. He suspected a Hawazin tribe of collecting warriors to fight for the Khaybar, so he sent Ali with a squad to fight them. The Hawazin fled, crying, "Misfortune! Muhammad is attacking us and we are not strong enough to resist." Ali stole 500 camels and 2,000 goats. Abu Rafi', the high chief of Khaybar, had been active in organizing the Battle of the Ditch. This gave 5 Muslims from the Wolf tribe the excuse to petition Muhammad. "You let the lions kill Ka'b Nadr. We want to be the ones to kill Abu Rafi'." Muhammad gave permission. The assassins knocked on Abu Rafi''s door, lying that they had a gift for him, then charged in with drawn swords and stabbed him on his own bed. Soon there were rumors that the new high chief of Khaybar, Usayr, was gathering an army of Ghatafan, or that he was already marching to Medina with an army of Jews. Although the spies could not agree on their story, Muhammad sent 30 Muslims to Khaybar with the instruction, "Don't let Usayr be seen again." The Muslims lured 30 Jews out of the city for peace talks, stole their swords, then on a signal, attacked and killed them. Usayr fought back with a tree branch, but only 1 Jew survived. Muhammad also wanted to punish various other tribes. He sent Zayd to fight the Sulaim tribe, but Zayd only managed to capture a few prisoners and steal some animals. Another expedition was supposed to punish the Asad. The raiders captured 200 camels but no humans, either dead or alive. Muhammad led a grand raid against the Hudayl tribe, but the adventure was a flop because he never located his enemy. The fact that his punishment raids so often failed shows that Muhammad did not really know where these nomadic tribes were, and therefore could not have spied on them efficiently. Most of his tales of tribes plotting against Medina were fictitious excuses to justify his raids. The real purpose of the raids was to terrify his neighbors so that they would never dare to oppose him. One tribe that really was plotting against Muhammad was the Ghatafan. He had attacked them 3 times for no reason, and they had tried to punish him at the Battle of the Ditch. When this failed, they led a raid to steal his camels. The Muslims counter-raided, killed the chief's son in the fight, and brought back their camels. After this, Muhammad could not leave the Ghatafan alone. He sent out 3 raids to attack them. The first time, the Ghatafan defended themselves and defeated the Muslims. The second time, the Muslims defeated the Ghatafan, who fled into the mountains and stole their camels. The third time, the Ghatafan fled before there was any fighting, but the Muslims stole more camels. A Ghatafan subtribe took revenge in the autumn. They spied Muhammad's ex-son Zayd on a trading journey to Syria, so they ambushed him, beat him up, and stole his merchandise. As soon as Zayd had recovered from his injuries, he brought the Muslim army back to the Ghatafan. They ambushed the guilty tribe and captured Qirfa, a powerful Ghatafan chieftainess. Zayd ordered her legs to be tied to 2 camels, and the camels to be driven to run in the opposite direction until she was torn in 2. Muhammad was delighted by Zayd's account of his victory. Muhammad's greatest victory was not for either revenge or defense. He decided to launch another attack on Dummat al-Jandal on the Syrian border. His citizens, the Kalb tribe, had never retaliated for his attempt to invade them the previous year, which only confirmed his impression that they were a soft target. He sent 700 armed men to invite them to Islam. If the Kalb did not accept the invitation, Muhammad instructed, "Attack in Allah's name and in Allah's pathway, and kill those who do not believe in Allah." The Kalb tribe took no notice of the preaching, so the army had to start fighting. After they had besieged Dummat al-Jandal for 3 days, the chief agreed to become a Muslim. Several others followed his example. The rest were allowed to remain Christian, provided they paid a tax to Medina for the privilege. Muhammad's army commander married the chief's daughter and brought her back to Medina, a hostage for her father's obedience. This was Muhammad's first jihad of pure conquest. It did not directly contribute to his goal of conquering Mecca. It was a sideline to terrify his neighbors. By this time, it was in his mind that he might one day rule all Arabia. While the army was still in Dummat al-Jandal, Muhammad decided to launch another raiding party. This time his target was the small but wealthy Mustalik tribe, who had fought at the Battle of the Ditch and were still allies of Abu Sufyan. The Muslims located half of the tribe grazing their animals at a well and surrounded them before their victims noticed their arrival. Then the Muslims charged down the well, screaming, "Kill! Kill! Victors!" The women, children, and animals fled while the men desperately fought back, but the Muslims closed in on them. It was a matter of minutes before the battle was over, and all the survivors were captured. Humans, camels, goats, weapons, bags, and money were distributed among the Muslims. After nearly a month without their wives, the Muslims were desperate to rape their captives. They knew, however, that any who became pregnant would be sold at a much lower price. Was the solution to practice withdrawal? Muhammad said that there was no point in trying to reduce the odds of pregnancy. If Allah has destined a person's existence, that person will be conceived regardless. So the men raped their captives without worrying about the consequences. Most Arabs understood that there were moral and immoral ways to fight wars. The Muslims were sometimes surprised by what Allah allowed. One warrior asked, "What happens when we attack the enemy by dark and we accidentally strike women or children?" Muhammad replied that there was nothing wrong with this, for they belong to the tribe too. There is no protection except with Allah and His Messenger. Although Muhammad, like most Arabs, did not set out to kill non-combatants, he recognized that it might sometimes be the only way to win war. Soon afterwards, a nomad entered the mosque in Medina and rushed toward the Prophet. When a dagger fell out of his trousers, the stranger confessed that Abu Sufyan had sent him to kill Muhammad. The nomad was of no importance. Muhammad set him free and sent him off into the desert. What mattered was that Abu Sufyan had attempted to hit back. Muhammad decided to survey the situation in Mecca at first hand. He announced that they would visit the Kaaba. 1,400 Muslims volunteered for the exertion. They were dressed in the white robes of pilgrims, but they were also carrying swords. The starving Quraysh were alarmed. They took it for granted that the pilgrim costumes were just a disguise for a military attack, and they agreed that the pilgrims could never be admitted to Mecca. They called up their allies from the neighboring tribes to resist Muhammad. At first, the Muslims agreed to fight anyone who blocked their way to the Kaaba. However, they had to reconsider when they saw the size of the Meccan army, which outnumbered them 3-1. They camped in the Hudaybiyah valley, just on the outskirts of Mecca. For several days they exchanged messages. Each time Muhammad said the same thing. "We haven't come to fight. We've come to walk around the Kaaba, but of course we'll fight anyone who blocks us." Each time the Quraysh representative insisted, "You don't have our permission to enter Mecca," and warned him that he had no chance of winning if the Quraysh army decided to ambush Hudaybiyah valley. Muhammad's bodyguard threatened to cut off a delegate's hand. Abu Bakr told them to have oral sex with the goddess Allat. Uthman, who was Abu Sufyan's cousin, as well as Muhammad's, negotiated by threatening military action in the future. Finally, Muhammad was forced to accept the conditions imposed on him by the Quraysh elders. This is what he agreed in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. 1. The Muslims in the Quraysh will not fight for the next 10 years. 2. The Muslims will not enter Mecca this year, but they may visit for 3 nights next year. 3. Meccans who try to join Muhammad in Medina will be returned to Mecca, but Medinans who join the Quraysh will be allowed to stay in Mecca. 4. Other tribes may ally with either Muhammad or the Quraysh and become part of this treaty. The Khuza'a tribe announced on the spot, "We make a treaty with Muhammad." The Bakr tribe responded, "We make a treaty with the Quraysh."
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
On the way home to Medina, Muhammad had to explain to his dismayed followers why he had surrendered to the humiliating treaty. He said that Gabriel had brought a new prophecy. "Surely we have given you a clear victory, that Allah may forgive your community their past faults and those to follow." "Allah's messenger," they asked, "is it really a victory?" "Certainly," he replied. However, he knew he would have to produce an event that felt like a victory to the Muslims. Gabriel promised them, "Allah promised you many acquisitions which you will take. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those with him are firm of heart against the unbelievers, compassionate among themselves.